Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, December the 26th. I hope that you had a very Merry Christmas, and we are gearing up for a brand new year. And I figured I would send us out with a bang and send us out with something that's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So, but it needed to be a quick project so that you could get it done fairly quickly. So I came up with this really pretty memory wire bracelet using all these different colors of crystals. And this is great because it's kind of a one-size-fits-all thing with the memory wire, and it's very quick and affordable. You wouldn't believe how this is all crystals, but it's actually a very affordable bracelet to do. So let me grab my materials list here so I can tell you exactly what I've got. I'm using some 3-hole spacer bars. I'm using just a very plain silver one, but you can use decorative. We do have some really pretty decorative, like daisy spacer 3-hole bars. You're going to need 15 of those. Now, I'm going to list all the crystal colors that I'm using and the quantities. So I'm using 9 6mm crystal AB bicones, and all of these, again, are 6mm. You're going to need 6 of the following: light rose AB, rose AB, fuchsia AB, amethyst AB, tanzanite AB, capri blue AB, sapphire AB, aqua AB, emerald AB, blue zircon AB, peridot AB, citrine AB, hyacinth AB, light cyan AB, and then 9 cyan ABs. I'm also going to be using memory wire. I'm using 2 1/4 inch in the bracelet memory wire. You're going to need 4 head pins and 4 4mm silver round beads is what I'm using for this project. The only other thing you're going to need is a pair of round nose pliers and a pair of memory wire cutters. So let's get started with this great new project and our last one for 2016. So here you can see how my bead mat is laid out. And I have each color laid out exactly how it's going to go on the bracelet. And this is the exact same color sequence that I told you when I said the materials list, okay? So I've got all those laid out, and then I have my head pins, my round beads, my spacer bars, and my memory wire. Now, one thing you need to know about the spacer bars is that these spacer bars will incorporate up to an 8mm size bead. So if you want a bigger bead, you can go one size bigger. You can go one size smaller, but if you go one size smaller, you're going to have even more space in between your beads here. So that's the one thing that I would say for that. Now, this is going to be a lot like the Lavish Luckadoo bracelet, except for we're going to have even numbers in the same sizes of all of our beads. To get started, I'm going to take my memory wire and I'm going to actually leave it connected. I'm not going to cut it from the little spool of wire just yet. And I'm going to find my end piece here. There it is. And I'm going to start threading on my beads. So I'm going to thread, you're threading on 2 of each color. So it's going to be, I'm going to thread on 2 crystal AB, then a spacer bar, then the 2 light rose, and a spacer bar. Everything is going to be 2 beads and then a spacer bar. And you'll just follow the pattern of how you want your beads to look. Now, you could do this all with one color if you wanted to. You could pick a like a variation of color, like you could do all the pinks. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rainbow effect like I've got. But you're just going to continue putting on 2 of each color with the spacer bar in between until you have all 16 colors picked up. And with a crystal, not a spacer bar. So I've added all of my crystals, the sections of 2 each with the spacer bars in between. So I'm going to take the very end of my wire and I'm going to go ahead and make a loop. Now you'll want to take note of where you're making your loop on your pliers because you'll want each loop to be that same size. So you could take and make a little mark there or put a little piece of tape, but you're just going to make a loop with that wire. And then we are going to make sure that all of our beads fall down to the end of the bracelet. And one mistake I made when I made the very first one of these is I cut off my wire, I made my loop, and then I realized that I didn't have both of these crystal ABs down here, so I had to restring it. So that's one thing you might want to watch for. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut. Normally I would use my memory wire cutters. This is a little bit of a softer memory wire, so I feel like it's okay to use my regular cutters for this particular memory wire, but always use your discretion. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to make a loop here on the other end so that they are side by side, just like this. Now this time I am going to have to cut off the wire, and I'm going to make sure I've got my complete loop here. And if I take my hands just like this, you can see this is the very end. It comes around, it makes one complete loop. So I'm going to come out about 1.5 inches past where that wire would meet the end of the loop, and I'm going to cut it so that the ends overlap a good bit here. Then I'm going to make a loop on the wire, same size loop that I made on the first piece of wire, and then start out with your 2 crystal AB bicones. Then we're going to thread it through the second link of, or the second hole of the bar. Now this is the thing that's kind of crappy about this piece, because you can't really go too much further. You have to thread on 2 crystals, your next color, and you have to be very careful because then it has to slide into the next bar. Then I'm going to pull the wire through just a little bit, put on 2 crystals, and go through the next bar. And so sometimes what I had to do was get it right at the hole and then use my hand to kind of push the wire up just a little bit, because as you get more beads on here, it's going to get harder and harder to get through here, because see, you don't have a lot to work with there, and then you're having to make sure it gets in the middle hole of that bar. So you're going to continue all the way around, putting your crystals on and going through the middle hole of your bar. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. So as you can see, I have some extra here, and that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and take and trim this so that I can make the loop and point it downward, because the wire will fly. And then I'm going to take and make the loop on this end of the wire. And then I'm going to do one more piece of wire through this side so that I have all 3 strands of memory wire added to the bracelet. Once you have the 3rd strand of memory wire in and you have the loops made, this is what your piece will look like. And you could wear it like this. There's nothing wrong with wearing it like this at all, but I just like to do things a little different. So at this point you should have 3 of your crystals left in the crystal AB and the cyan, and that is the first and the last color actually on your piece. So I'm going to go ahead and thread on a crystal AB onto one head pin, and I'm going to make a wrapped loop, and I'm going to do the same thing to one of the cyan ABs. Okay, completely do it and wrap the loop. So I've done the loops on these, and now I'm ready to actually finish off the bracelet. Now I'm going to be using 4mm silver, just regular round beads. You could use 3mm bicones if you wanted to for this, but I would not suggest it, because if you do, you may bust the crystals. So I'm going to start on the end with the cyan, and I'm going to pick up 1 round and then go through the first loop here on the end of my bracelet. Then I'm going to thread on a 6mm and go through the second loop, and then a 6mm and go through the third loop. I'm going to put on the 4mm round. I'm going to pull that down tight so it'll pull the ends together a little bit, just like this. And then I'm going to bend this wire out and start my loop. Now before I actually finish that loop off, I'm going to go ahead and thread on the cyan bead that I put on the head pin and made the wrapped loop. Make sure it goes up inside of the loop, the little hoop that you created. And I'm going to hold the loop with my round nose pliers. Okay, so it's just laying right across the loop. Now I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I'm going to wrap this until it meets the round bead. And then I'm going to trim the wire and do the same thing on the other side. So what will happen is that on this end I'll have a bead and on this end I'll have a bead. So now I have both ends completed, and as you can see, I've got a crystal AB on this side and the crystal on this side so that you get a nice finished look to your bracelet. So that is basically how you can do multi-strand pieces of the memory wire and doing a fun, quick, and simple bracelet to finish out 2016. So I hope you enjoyed this project today. We do have kits available for this exact color bracelet, this color scheme, on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And that'll come with all the crystals you need, the memory wire, everything for $20. So it's a really good price for all the crystals that you're going to use in this piece. But guys, listen, I want to thank you so much for letting me come into your homes, your cell phones, your tablets this year. It has been such a joy to deal with most of you in this past year. And listen, I hope that 2017 I can bring you even more great content and tutorials. And just some good know-how stuff for your beading hobbies and things that you like to do. But be sure and come back Thursday, because Thursday will be the completely last video for the year, and I will be finishing up the 3-dimensional peyote stitch series by showing you what I'm actually doing with all of my shapes. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.